show 3 dimensions away from the Marvels being called Captain Marvel 2. I'm your host 3D Jake, and today we're looking at The Marvels, released in 2023. The Marvels is directed by Nia DaCosta and is co-written by Nia DaCosta, Megan McDonnell, and Elisa Kerensky. The movie stars Brie Larson, Tatiana Parrish, Iman Vellani, Zai Ashton, and Samuel L. Jackson. The movie is a sequel to the Captain Marvel 1, Miss Marvel, and WandaVision, where essentially it picked and Secret Invasion. And so eventually you have to watch basically three out of four out of basically five projects just to understand this movie. I didn't really have to watch it because I've already seen those shows, so I watched it and I enjoyed this movie. Okay, I don't think it's a terrible movie. Is it perfect? No. I actually really enjoyed like the movie. It's like a buddy, it's a buddy superhero team up movie where essentially like Captain Marvel, she's going on this mission. She touches this portal which syncs all three of them together, and where every time that they use their powers, they keep switching up in different locations. So eventually we have to come together. And there's a villain that basically is going to wants to bring her homeworld back to its former glory. And so essentially, she decides to use her magic power, wants to use the power to absorb other people's planets to save her planet, and so that's basically the plot of the movie. And the movie is, I enjoyed it though. Yeah, the movie is a good time. I enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No. Again, um, the movie I liked about it is that it's like Captain Marvel, like she's supposed to be like like she's like basically like the tough one, and then you have like the science one, which is basically which is Tatiana Parrish's character, and then you have Miss Marvel, who's like the comic relief of the movie, where she's always with cracking jokes and everything. And I will say I thought she was really good in the movie. I reverse as Captain Miss Marvel. The only thing is, she kind of gets annoying because sometimes it's like she's making these jokes, and you're like, all right, it's funny. Then it's like the person that keeps telling jokes, and you're like, at first it's like, yeah, it's funny, but then it goes, all right, that's enough now, it's enough now, and then they keep going. You're just like, oh, come on, just stop, all right, stop, you know, and it's like that's like her whole character of the movie. Although she has some good moments in the movie, like she has a couple of good moments where she's serious, but they're like limited compared to what she is. And I will say that the villain of the movie is basically like General Zod from Man of Steel. She wants to destroy other planets to save her planet. And I like that idea, but here's my problem. If you watch the final trailer for this movie, they mismarket that movie heavily as if she wants to be complete with Thanos and wipe out the whole universe. And so if you watch that, which I'm not going to take away, that's the marketing, that is not the movie itself. But people that watch the final trailer will be very disappointed. A lot of people brought this up that she's meant to be the next Thanos. Like she's continuing his work, and that is not the case at all. She's basically just someone who Captain Marvel come in and destroyed, and destroyed their world, and so basically she's trying to save it by wiping out other worlds to save her world. And I like the idea and the motivation behind it. There is some things that I thought like, oh, I wish you could have done better in it. All right, she is a villain, okay, but we really just see we see her backstory, but she just feels like she's never playing this humanely. She's always playing this as if she's like, I am a villain. I am going to wipe you out. I am a villain. She's not playing. She's playing like Ronan the Accuser in a way. Like she's like a female version of the Accuser, and I'm just like, really, why would she play it that way? At least Thanos was more humane. Like she's just not humane at all in the movie. She's just playing it like she's just a generic villain. Like she's just like the mustache welding. I was waiting for her to laugh and go ha 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 ha. Almost and I'm just like, you're not playing it as someone who is like every villain should be the hero in their own head. Like General Zod in Man of Steel is the hero in his own head. Like he thinks, I'm saving Krypton. I have to do horrible things to do it, but guess what? At the end, Krypton will be saved and people will love me, and everything will be perfect. That's what she should be like. Look, she goes like, look, I have to do this. And instead of she's just like, I am going to do this. I'm going to wipe you all out, and I'm just like, I can't stand by you. I can't even justify your actions or anything because you're just a generic comic villain. And as well as I think that my biggest issue is just like the movie has pacing issues as well because like literally it just feels like they're rushing to go to the next scene. It's like, okay, we're over here, now we're going over here, now we got to go over here, now we got to go over here, and I'm just like, I had the same issue with Thor: The Dark World, or not Thor: The Dark World, but Thor: Love and Thunder, where basically, okay, they're going over here, then they're gonna go over here, then they're going. I'm like, can we just stay like at one location and then figure out what our next plan is rather than like sitting there like, and also it feels very shoehorned in that there's a scene. I like the scene, but it feels like it's so shoehorned in where they're trying to just test out their abilities to get like each other, become likable, in a way where they're just like, hey, look, I'm over here, woo, I'm using my power over here, woo, on the ship, and it's a fun scene, but I'm just like, come on, really? And there is some good scenes I like. Like I like the scene where like the parents are really funny in this movie. Miss Marvel's parents. Like there's a scene where they keep fighting. The fight scenes in this movie, by the way, are fantastic. Where the fight scenes are great. Like there's a fight scene where it's happening in a teleporting ship, and then on top of that, it's happening in Miss Marvel's living room, and on top of it, it's happening in like the villain's lair. And so like Miss Marvel keeps getting teleported from her living room to like the villain's lair to like the ship, and it's so funny because like they're seeing Catherine has to fight the bad guy, then she gets sucked out, and then goes over here to fight the bad guys. And I was sort of laughing because I'm like, it's kind of funny, and it's actually a really great fight sequence, and I'm like, I love that sequence and everything. um I will say that there is a sequence though, like the only thing is the movie kind of contradicts its own powers though, in a way where essentially Captain they can't use their own abilities, okay? And so Captain Marvel, knowing this, goes and flies up in the air using her abilities, and then Miss Marvel's floating because she falls falling to her death. And I'm just like, well, no shit. You just said, you're basically using your powers, and now you're gonna fly up there, potentially switching, sending someone to their death because they can't fly. And I was just like, wow. I was like, wow. Because I was thinking that she was about to jump. Like, there's no way she's about to fly. She's not that dumb. She's not that dumb. No, oh my god, she's doing. And I was like, yep, that happened. And you see Miss Marvel falling to her death. I was like, use your ability, and also the movie kind of contradicts itself by they're not if they use their abilities they switch around, okay, all right, but then there are scenes where they're using their abilities and nothing's happening. So I'm just like, so is it like a 30-second thing or something? Because they never establish why they're just when they use their abilities that they switch, and then again if they use their abilities they don't switch. Because I'm like there's times where I'm like, oh, they're about to switch again. Nope, they don't. I'm like, but they're using their own abilities and they're not switching, And I kind of wish that the villain would have took Miss Marvel, used her as hostage because she has the other bracelet. So I'm like, what if she like? They're like when I say run, Kamal, I'm like, oh yeah, she's gonna go after, she's gonna kidnap her and take her bracelet. And I'm like, they probably can't get the bracelet off, so they're just gonna take her with her and figure it out later. But instead, it's just like, no, and I'm just like, yeah, I was like, oh come on. And I was like, instead, it's just like, oh, we got to stay together. But I will say the next sequence after that was pretty good, where they go onto the spaceship, the alien spaceship, the Nick Fury's ship, and then basically like they had like their like the escape pod, the ship's going down, and so they're like, what do we do? And like we only got a couple escape pods, and they have all these. And this alien cat from the first movie is like having baby cats, and so they're like eating people, and then like what they throw them back up because they don't kill them. So he's like, I got an idea. What if? And then everybody starts getting eaten by the cats. So we could put the cats in the ship, and then they could throw us back up on Earth. And so everybody's getting eaten by the cats. And then like this Marvel and the Captain Marvel trying to like Miss Marvel, this guy's running away from the cat, and then this Miss Marvel holds up the wall, and she goes, "Sorry," and the guy gets eaten by the cat. And I'm just like, I was dying laughing at that scene. There's also a funny scene where Miss Marvel's dad tries to sell this guy life insurance, and this guy's like 300 years old. And so it's like it's actually really funny. I was actually there's some really funny moments in the movie like that, and everything. And also this there's like and I also liked there's also a good post credit scene at the end where like you see the like Miss and then of course like Tatiana Parrish's character, she gets sucked into like she sacrifices herself to save the day, and then of course she ends up in the X-Men universe where she thinks she sees her mom, but her mom's actually a mutant character from the comics. And so I thought that was really cool. You see Kelsey Grammer as Beast, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Kelsey Grammer as Beast. And I'm like, you hear the X-Men theme from Bryan Singer's movie play in the background. I'm like, oh, I was like, so this is setting up Deadpool 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, so she's in the X-Men universe, she's in the Fox verse, and I'm like, yes. And that's what made me excited for Deadpool 2. I did like that, and I also like that, I also like the prince in the movie that Captain Marvel has to marry. I thought that was pretty good too. And I also like the, of course, Nick Fury's good in the movie. I liked him better in this one than he is in Secret Invasion. And, I just kind of wish the villain would have been better and better written and characterized villain. And I kind of wish that, by the way, they go to that planet, they go to the planet with all the water because every time the villains go and takes the Kree away. The Kree scene I thought was just okay. I thought it was just so generic. The Kree scene, like they go and they steal oxygen from the Kree. Then they go and they steal, water from this other planet that Captain Marvel married this guy for. And I'm like, we never go back to that planet either. Or the Kree worry about it. Like Valkyrie's there, and I'm just like, why wouldn't they ask Valkyrie for help in a way? But they do have this cool sequence with the aliens and everything. And I'm just like, I thought that was pretty cool with the cats and everything. But I just kind of wish it would have been better in a way. But it was a fun movie. I did enjoy it, and I'm definitely going to watch it again. I do kind of wish it would have just been better. But it was still a fun movie, and I had a good time with it. If I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it a solid B plus. Thank you so much.